Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rock and Review is so pleased to welcome Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, guitarist, composer, and the founder of Journey, Neal Schon. Thanks for coming on the Rock and Review, Neal.
Thank you, Eric. How are you guys?
Doing great. It's so good to see you, even though we couldn't get you in studio last time you played Nashville. But I got to tell you, this new album, the solo album, The Universe, is just amazing. I can't stop listening to it.
Thank you, man. I think it's a timely record, and I've been sitting on it. It's been, almost completed for almost 3 years now.
Wow.
And, I would ask other people's opinion, and they say, no, sit on it for a while. Maybe we should release it during the tour, the Journey tour, this and that. And so they would be telling me again to sit on it, and I go, no, you know what? I think after this year that we've all been through, people need some healing, and I really got like a spiritual healing sense from this record when I listen to it back, because I don't listen to myself. Actually, when I make a record, I don't listen to it unless I go play live, very seldom do I ever listen to my own stuff. So I got away from it for a while, and I came back, and I was like pleasantly surprised. I mean, Narda was amazing to work with, Narda Michael Walden, and tremendous composer and producer, drummer extraordinaire. Happy to have him in a Journey camp right now too. So he's brought a lot to the table. But I was telling you off screen, I thought we were on. I'll go through it again. But I asked him. I ran into him and I said, Narda, why don't you write me a record? And we had known each other. We've known each other for many, many years in the Bay Area here. Actually, Jonathan, myself, Randy Jackson, and Narda played at the Crossroads Festival for Clapton many years ago. And Narda busted his drum, and we didn't have a drum tech. So that was it. We're in the middle of, a Third Stone from the Sun or something out of Buttigieg, and there was no bass drum. So we had to end it a lot quicker than we wanted to. But we could tell things were gelling really well. But Narda, he proceeded to write. He says, okay, I'll write you something. And he called me 3 days later and he said, come by the studio and check out what I've done. And so I went by and he played me like 6 brand new tracks. Wow. And, I was kind of dumbfounded. I couldn't believe that he just kind of came out of nowhere and wrote. And I really made it a point to tell him, I said, look, I really don't want to emulate Jeff Beck in this, even though I love him very much, like everybody does. There's only one Jeff Beck, and it needs to be like that. And so I said, what I play like? I want it to soar. I want it like, majestic. I want symphonic, classical blues mixed with funk, R&B, fusion, rock. I mean, you name it. I want it all, And so he did, and I went by and listened. I was just blown away. And so he was singing the melodies with his voice, where the guitar would go on the songs that he wrote. And I looked at it as though it was just like a roadmap for me to kind of do my own thing. And so I digested everything, and I came back in the studio about a week later, and I said, okay, I'm ready to go. And he goes, you listen to it good? And I go, oh, yeah. And so I sat down. I'm in the student seat. He's in, the producer role. And I start playing on the first track, Something in the Heart. And I start, manipulating his melody a bit and doing my own thing to it. He goes, what are you doing? And I go, what are you talking about? I'm playing. And he goes, oh, no, man, you have to play that melody. Okay. The melody I sang, he said, you want me to play every melody exactly like you sang it? He goes, yes. And so I did.
Wow. That's not easy.
And it's not that easy, man, to tell you the truth. It's easier playing blues, and being expressive. Like the solos come to me like that. Playing really simple melodies that only, he treated me more like I was a lead vocalist, right? Because it's an instrumental record. And the guitar is the vocal. And so as many guitarists know out there, it's harder to play a simple melody and make it sing and have emotion and heart than to play a zillion notes and be flashy.
which is fun. We like doing that.
I like doing both, but the latter side is a lot easier than slowing down and making it sing.
Well, I got to bring this up too, Neal. Listen to the album to where so many of the songs, like you said, you really gave the guitar a vocal-like quality to where, it sounded like a voice. And I was so taken aback. And it's funny, when I was listening to the album again last night, I was like going, it's like, it'd be great if you do, throw in, a Journey song in here. And then the next up song was Lights.
That was not my idea, actually. It was Narda's idea. And, I had done like a little Christmas EP the year before where I covered Faithfully and Open Arms and took my spin on it. And I actually did Purple Rain at the same time. And I used a good friend of mine that did the orchestration on those songs that lives in Nashville, Gary Caramelli, at Amulet Sound. And Gary and I did that voice record many years back that I got nominated for a Grammy. And it got stole from me from Lukather and his buddy. But, that's the way it goes, man.
Well, speaking of which, I got to bring up another incredible track on here, Neal, is your take on Hey Jude. Because, when I first got the album from you and everything, I saw it on the list, I thought, what's he going to do with Hey Jude? And then I listened to it, I'm like going, my gosh, you really, breathed new life into this song.
It's a funny story that I explained the other day. I did another interview, and it reminded me, I had forgotten about where it all came from. But, during the Journey shows, we have sections where we do solo sections, right? And I just kind of trip with the audience every night, and I don't do a set thing. I like to keep it sort of avant-garde and at the moment, what the audience kind of feels like. And so I started looping like a drone, and I started playing I Believe, the Stevie Wonder song, right? And people were really coming unglued because the melody is so majestic and beautiful. And I think some recognized it, but I don't think they knew exactly what it was. So and then, I remember playing a show in, not Vegas, back east somewhere. And I did Hey Jude, and I looped just the ending. I played the chords first, and then I played the melody, and then I ripped over it without the band, right? And the audience was all singing. So I remembered all of these moments that I had experimented with the live audience, and thought, well, that worked live, so why shouldn't it work on a record? And so then I ended up merging those two together, because once I cut I Believe, the ending was kind of like Hey Jude, but I said, what if I cross-fade into it? It could be really cool.
Well, I got to bring this up to where, some of our viewers, Neal, may not know that you were a child prodigy, and that your dad was a big band musician, and your mom was a big band singer. And so you started playing guitar at 5, but the first time you sat in with his band, you were 12 years old?
That's right, yeah. My dad used to, he had like most of the best horn players and, jazz guys that would come down to the, San Mateo, where his music store was. He had quite a big store, and they would get together like every Thursday night. And, they loved coming down to play my dad's charts because he wrote really well, and they loved, his arrangements. Even if he did standards, the arrangements were a bit different. And, he turned me on to so many great composers. Like, he loved Gerald Wilson, early Quincy Jones. I mean, many people, the house was always filled with music growing up. Before I was actually playing guitar, I was messing around with woodwind instruments, and, I got pretty good at it, but it wasn't really my forte, and I wasn't into it. When I heard the twang of, I think it was the Dave Clark 5, much like Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, yeah.
When him and I toured together, and we got pretty close, and we talked about the early inspiration for the guitar and what he dug about it. And he said, I love the Dave Clark 5. And I said, me too. I said, I like the edge of them. I like the Beatles, love the Beatles, That was the first record my dad ever gave me, was Rubber Soul. Which was really a musical record, And he was trying to veer me away from like the pop rock that was on the radio, because he would say it was like thinky rock. I don't know what that means, but
I don't know, but
I think he meant like cheesy.
right.
And so then, right around the corner was, the British invasion and,
Oh, yeah.
Jimi Hendrix. And I was completely taken back by the Cream, loved Eric Clapton and Hendrix and Beck, Jeff Beck.
Well, and also we've got your Voodoo Child rendition on the new album.
Right. I had played it before with Narda, just jamming. One was in a Golden Gate Park show that he was doing, and there was hundreds of thousands of people. And he just invited me to come down once I could get in with my car close enough to get to the stage. That was a fiasco, man. I'm not used to going to those things unless I'm playing and carrying some equipment. But I got up on stage and we jammed, and the place came pretty unglued. And I went, well, that's easy to do, Not if we ever want to do that, we can do that again. And so, we had the live band in the studio with Buddha, and that was a one take, And I told him as we were running it down, we're going to, edit this up a little bit because there's no vocal. And, then I want to go into third stone, And so that's where, when you listen on a record, you can hear that I go into third stone and Buddha picks up really quick, but Narda takes a second and then he grabs it. But I like that it was loose and you can tell that it was completely live. That's like one take, the first take, and we just went, yeah, that sounds cool.
Well, Neal, I want to make sure too that our viewers know, for your social media, for your website, everything, where do they need to go? Because they got to buy this new album, The Universe, and just to keep up with all this great stuff you're doing.
Well, you know what? I'm posting all the links. I'm updating the links right now. It's on every digital platform. I decided that I didn't want to wait until I got the vinyl and the CDs and everything to come all at once. I wanted it to come out before the holidays because I felt it was timely and that people would really enjoy it around this time. And so far, I'm correct. So I'm good with going with my gut instinct on things. And so they can find it on every digital format and download or stream that way for right now. But I am working on a double vinyl set. It's going to be a colored vinyl set. I'll put some extra artwork in it and, maybe sign the copies and stuff for people that have, record players and CDs as well. And so I'm working a deal on that right now. And so sometime after the first, we'll be coming with that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Neal, I can't thank you enough. Neal Schon for coming on Rock and Review, talking about, your great new solo album, The Universe. We're going to see maybe some new music from Journey in 2021 and a tour again.
Oh, you're going to be seeing a lot of music. We've got, like, just to tease, it's like, not a tease, but it's a fact that we have like 6 rockers already done. Arnell's finishing singing touches on 2 of them right now.
Wow.
The others are done, and we'll be releasing a single probably after the first of the year, the first single. And then we're going to come with a second single and then a third single. And then before the tour starts, a whole new album.
Incredible. Well, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see you back on tour again. I always enjoy your guitar playing on social media every day. Viewers for the show need to go out and catch you on that, on Twitter and all of your other outlets. Neal Schon, thanks again for coming on the Rock and Review today.
Thank you, Eric. See you soon, man. Take care.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.